Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam pravajantam anupetam apeta krityam Dvaipayano vidahakatara ajuhava Putreti tanmayatayotaravo binedus Tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi Bhaktya vihina aparadalakshe kshiptascha kamaditarangamade Kripa maitvam sharanam prapana vinde namaste charanarvindam. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. So first of all, I'm offering my humble obeisances at the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas, to Shripad Bhaktibandav Rasikananda Maharaj, to the feet of Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to the lotus feet of Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the entire Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga. So we'll continue reading from volume 1 of the Bhaktibandav anthology, the lectures of Bhaktibandav Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And Srila Gurudev, he was talking about how Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada first came to the Western countries from India and began to preach the message and the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, God himself, coming to preach the glories of chanting his own holy names and remembering him and performing his own devotional service. And Srila Gurudev, he was talking about how Srila Prabhupada came to give this wealth that Mahaprabhu came to give, the wealth of this love for Krishna. And that Prabhupada, or any of our gurus in our line, Mahaprabhu and any of his associates, they don't come to this world to gain anything. They don't come to receive any kind of worldly gain, like material sense gratification or fame and reputation and followers like this. They haven't come to gain anything from the people of this world. They've only come to give this real wealth of Krishna Prem, which Gurudev is saying, if one will take this wealth, he can go towards Krishna. It will take him towards God. Gurudev says, Swamiji came penniless. There was no one here in the Western world to welcome him even. He came alone. Only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna were with him in his heart. And his Gurudev and Guru Parampara were also with him, but not externally. Everyone else saw that he was alone, but actually he was not alone. Sometimes on the ship he may have felt like he was alone, but at the same moment he knew that Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and the whole Parampara, including Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna, with their whole family, Lalita, Vishaka, and all, Rupa, Mandri, and all others, with the whole spiritual abode, they were all with him. So this is something that Srila Gurudev would talk about often. And he would say that you should never think that you are alone. He would say that you are never alone. So we think that we are alone. People in this world, they become lonely and they seek out company. They seek out the association of other persons, which is also completely okay, completely fine. But Gurudev said, never think that you are alone, because Gurudev, the spiritual master who is transcendental, God himself, Krishna himself, Radharani, Gurudev is saying Lalita, Vishaka, Rupa Mandri, these are all the very near and dear associates of Krishna who are with him in his spiritual abode, Goloka Vrindavan. And Srila Gurudev is saying that all of them, along with the whole spiritual world, were with Srila Prabhupada in his heart. And so, although he seemed like he was alone, he was not actually alone. And this is part of the all-pervasive nature of the Supreme Lord. One time, someone asked Srila Gurudev, where is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur now? Because he seems to have left our material vision. But Srila Gurudev said, he is in every atom. And this is difficult to understand. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's described that God, or Krishna, he expands himself into every single atom of this world and enters within every atom and is present there. He's present in the heart of every living entity as the super soul. And it's described in the Bhagavad Gita that the soul and the super soul are like two birds sitting on a branch. And the soul, who is ourself, we are eating all the fruits of the tree, and we're engaged in looking away from the super soul, who is God, and we're enjoying this material world in so many different ways. And the super soul is just sitting there, waiting for the soul to look towards the super soul. And so, this is one description of the omnipotence of the Supreme Lord, who has the potency to see everything and be everywhere all at one time. And Srila Gurudev said that the transcendental personality, the devotee, the pure devotee who has realized his spiritual form and his service to Krishna, he is wherever Krishna is, serving him. And therefore, Gurudev said that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is in every atom. And we can think about it like this as well, that everything is just an expansion of Krishna's energy. Krishna created everything. So everything can remind us about Krishna in some way or another. But Gurudev would tell one story about this as well. That there was one guru who had many different disciples. And he gave each of the disciples a piece of candy and told them, go to some very secret place and eat the candy, so that making sure that no one can see you eating it, and then come back to me. So all the disciples, they went into different places. Some went into their rooms and here and there in a very hidden place where nobody could see them, and they ate the candy and they came back. But one person came back and he hadn't eaten his candy. And the guru asked him, oh, why haven't you eaten your candy yet? And he said, oh, I didn't find any place where I could be alone. And the guru said, oh, why not? You can go anywhere, here, there, and close the doors and no one will see you. But he said, no, God is in my heart. God is in every atom, always watching everything that I'm doing. And so therefore, I cannot take this because I cannot find anywhere I can actually be alone. So Srila Gurudev would say in this story that we should not perform any bad activities in secret and think that we are getting away with it and that nobody is knowing all these things, because he would say that Krishna knows everything, God knows everything, and he can see everything that you do and everything that you're thinking, and you cannot, Gurudev would say, you cannot cheat Krishna, you cannot cheat the pure spiritual master who has that same potency of knowing everything. He's all-knowing because he is transcendental and he's connected to God like that. So in this way we can be aware that we should not try to hide anything and have any deception in our hearts and do bad things, but externally showing that we are not engaged in any kind of hypocritical behavior. And in that way we can live pure and truthful lives. And this is a very beautiful meditation to think about how Srila Prabhupada was not alone when he came, that the whole spiritual world is in your heart. Radha and Krishna, the Supreme Personalities of Godhead, all of their pastimes, all of their associates, everything is in our hearts. And it's the special benediction of this age is that Krishna has invested all of his potency in his holy name. And Gurudev would say, the holy name is more merciful than Krishna himself, because Krishna appeared in this world maybe about 5,000 or so years ago, and then he left and he went back to Goloka Vrindavan. But the holy name is always available. We can't see Krishna now before our eyes, but we can always chant the holy name, and we can remember his holy name, we can remember his pastimes, we can remember all of his associates and his qualities. And we should know that the soul is in our heart, and that the soul has the power to travel to anywhere. It's not limited to being in this material body. The soul is very powerful. And by the power of meditation, by the power of remembrance, one can actually gain entrance into the spiritual world and have some realization of one's spiritual form and engage in service there in one's spiritual body upon realization of that. So we are not as limited as we think we are being in these material bodies. It's only our attachment and our desire. There's devotees that have become so absorbed in meditation and in trance, and that is called samadhi, which is described as the highest perfection of the yoga practice, is to attain enlightenment, which in our definition is becoming completely absorbed in one's spiritual identity and engaging in activities in the spiritual world. So there's devotees that it's been described in our scriptures, they would become absorbed in their spiritual forms and they wouldn't even be conscious here in this material world for 3-4 days even. They would be like unconscious. And then all of a sudden their soul may come back or their awareness may come back into their body, and they would again become aware back in their senses in this material world. But one of the very first books that Srila Prabhupada wrote was Easy Journey to Other Planets. And so the qualities of the soul are very elaborately described in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is describing this. And it is very, very powerful. So, simply by remembering them and chanting the name of God and all of His associates, they are present. Because they are spiritual, they're transcendental. And they're not limited by any of the limitations of this material world. They can instantly, if God wanted to, He could instantly come right now and be present here. That is the potency of God. That's the potency of Krishna. He can do anything He likes. And because Krishna is absolute, because He is the source of everything, there's no difference between Him and His name, and there's no difference between His soul and His body. It's not like us. He's not covered by a material body. He never becomes covered by ignorance. He never becomes bewildered. He always knows everything. And so the potency of God is that by hearing about Him, by speaking about Him, by chanting His name, we're actually associating with God. And like if you will call your friend, if you will call someone on the phone, they will be present there. And you can talk to them. You type in a number and you call your mother, and immediately through the airwaves you can talk to your mother or anyone. So if materially we can do something like this, we can only imagine how powerful the spiritual capabilities are. if we want to talk to God, if we want to see God, it is not impossible. But we also have to desire that and perform very focused practice to achieve that realization of Krishna. It's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam how different devotees would perform very hard austerities for many, many months and many, many years, for lifetimes, for thousands and thousands and thousands of lifetimes, just to have realization of God, just to see God. And he does not very easily give his audience for whatever reason. And so Srila Prabhupada, he did not come alone to the West. He came with the holy name. He came with our scriptures, which the Vedas, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said to be the literary incarnation of Krishna himself. All the different cantos, all the different volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam are described to be like the first canto being the feet, the first and second canto, and then like that, the third canto, fourth canto, fifth canto is like the chest and the neck and the face and the smile and the forehead and the top of the head, all from the first to the 12th canto. It is the very form of Krishna, because by hearing about him, by saying his name, by remembering him, he is immediately present there. His potency is there. And so Prabhupada came with these literatures which can give one gradual realization of Krishna himself. And Srila Gurudev, he said that the only reason he asked the devotees, why did Srila Prabhupada translate the Srimad Bhagavatam into English? Why did he do this? He said, because then in hundreds of thousands of years, maybe one person would develop the desire to serve Krishna and go back to Godhead. So by hearing about Krishna, by reading these books, we can develop a very deep desire and a greed to awaken and engage in that eternal relationship of love with Krishna. So Prabhupada brought the description of the glories of not only Krishna himself, but the glories of the devotees of Krishna, the glories of the performance of devotion, the performance of bhakti to Krishna, and how that bhakti has the power and the potency to attract the Supreme Lord. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes in his book Madhurya Kadambini how the gradual development of bhakti is coming, And at the very highest stages of fully mature love for Krishna, fully mature love for God, it's called Krishna Akarshini, which means that Krishna, the word Krishna means attractive, the all attractive. And Akarshana means like to attract. So by performing bhakti, by performing devotional service and developing pure love for Krishna, Krishna himself, God himself, becomes so greedy to taste those loving moods of the devotee, and he is attracted by that. At once, Krishna will come to where that devotee is calling out to him and relishing this love for Krishna. And he wants to taste those very deep moods. So this is the power of bhakti, that like a very fragrant flower, Krishna is like the bee that's coming and wanting to taste the nectar of that love. And we can understand it in this material world, how if someone has so much love for us, we become attracted to that person, and we want to feel that love that they have for us. And if they want to please us and they want to love us, then we can become attracted by that. And because that is what the living entities are looking for, is that love. That's what Krishna is looking for. Krishna doesn't want anything but your love. He already has everything. Krishna owns, he created everything. He has all the wealth. Again, he's full in all opulences. He's full in all knowledge. There's nothing that he doesn't have. He can create millions of universes and destroy millions of universes in a moment. He can manifest unlimited mansions and unlimited women to enjoy with, and so many things. But what is so relishable about the living entities is that we have independence. We have a choice whether to love Krishna or not. And this is the only thing that Krishna cannot have unless we give it to him. Gurudev would say that Krishna only wants your heart. Gurudev, he only wants your heart. Because right now, we have our heart and we have a lock and key, and we don't very easily give our heart to everybody. Imagine if anyone on the street, we just fully surrendered to, and we fully gave everything to, and our heart and soul to. It doesn't make sense, because we don't know if that person is going to take advantage of us, and we also have specific attachments to certain people in this world. And generally, our love is not given so freely in the highest ways to everybody. And we have also been cheated in this world by many different people, whoever it may be. And we don't so easily give our heart to others because they may have selfish motives. They may want to take, again, advantage of us. And so it's very rare to find someone that you fully give your heart to, because they may give you up and then you have nothing left. Your heart has been ripped out of your chest. You fell in love with somebody, you gave them your heart, and then they walked away, or they insulted you and they stomped on your heart, and they gave you so much pain and suffering. And you became vulnerable and put your heart in the wrong place, and they hurt you in some way. This is the story with many people, I'm sure. And so we're very protective of that. And we're very wary of giving our heart to anyone else. But that is what Krishna is ultimately looking for. He wants our love, he wants our service and our independence. Because if we have any doubt and we have any separate desire from serving Krishna, then that love that we would have for him is not complete. It won't be fully, there'll always be you'll always be holding something back. You won't fully give yourself to that person. And you won't fully give yourself to Krishna, and therefore that love will not be so tasteful. There'll always be some amount of fear that I cannot fully give myself, I cannot fully serve, and I cannot fully feel happy in this situation, because you think that, oh, Krishna will hurt me, or I need to go somewhere else, I'm not okay here. So Gurudev would say, Krishna just wants your heart. And it's very easy for Krishna to steal our heart away simply by hearing about his very sweet pastimes. We become very attracted. And hearing about how much love he has for his devotees, it's very easy to fall in love with Krishna and want to serve him. And we can understand that there's no one higher than Krishna. There's no one more beautiful. There's no one more loving. There's no one more sweet. There's no one more attractive and caring and everything. No one more powerful than Krishna himself. So if we will give our heart to Krishna, there's no doubt and there's no fear that he will not help us, and he will not support us, and he will not maintain us, and he will not take care of us, and that he will not love us. We don't have to be worried that he will give us up and divorce us and again leave us to experience so much pain and suffering. These are just a few thoughts that am just kind of going on about, but thank you so much. And I can show you our deities here at the temple, if you would like. So, this is Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'll explain who they are. This is Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who came first to the West to spread this Krishna consciousness. And this is our Guru Varga, beginning from Srila Gurudev most recently, and Guru and disciple up the line. We can go through them in sequence at a later time, explain it in more detail. This is Radha and Krishna. We call them Radha Raman, which means that Krishna who is enjoying playful, loving pastimes with Srimati Radhika. So this is Krishna. This is Srimati Radhika. Very beautiful deities. We can talk about them. We will constantly be talking about them in more detail. And these other four personalities on either side of them are the female friends of Srimati Radhika, other cowherd maidens who live in Vrindavan. This is Lalita Devi. And this is Rupa Manjari. And they're all similar in age, maybe about teenage, youthful. They're in their youth. This is Vishaka Devi. This is Rati Manjari. So like this. And we can go into more detail later about who they are and what they do and so many other things. Thank you so much. These are all the books that we've typed so far of our Srila Gurudev's lectures. We have almost published 100 books. We're working on volume 100 right now. And each book has many hundreds of pages of Srila Gurudev's descriptions of the glories of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Radha Krishna and Mahaprabhu and the other incarnations of Krishna. So, yeah, we're very happy to be sharing this, all of this sweetness and all of this knowledge with the world, and we hope you enjoy it, and we hope it helps others come closer to Krishna and eternal happiness in their spiritual forms. So, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.